Not like you're thinking, though. I wasn't addicted to alcohol or drugs or smoking. Not to sugar, not to sleep, maybe a bit to caffeine, but that's not the point. I was addicted to working. Studying, to be exact. As strange as it sounds, this work addiction is much more common than you might think, and it has a name: hustle culture. Defined by Dr. Olga Molina as working excessively without regard for one's relationships and self-care needs in order to reach professional success, hustle culture was something primarily seen among adults in the workplace for years. Getting to work early and staying late, all while rubbing it into your coworkers, has always been a common problem among adults in a work setting. The promotion of sleep deprivation and overworking yourself to produce crazy success was always alarmingly common. And the term hustle culture was originally coined as something specifically seen in the workplace. However, I've started to see this mindset in academics and in my everyday life. As a student, I can say firsthand that hustle culture defined my life for years. I woke up, went to school, came home, and did my schoolwork. Day after day, year after year. Sounds fun, right? I found I was distancing myself from my friends and my family, focusing excessively on school and schoolwork. It became tied to my identity, dare I say it became my identity. I was high on academic success and validation. From observing my friends and fellow students, I can confidently say that this problem greatly extends beyond just me. This hustle culture, previously only seen in the workplace, has seeped into students' lives through their parents, their peers, the media, and other sources, and it is thriving. The way adults in this lifestyle tie themselves to their salaries, students tie themselves to their grades. It's getting up at ungodly hours to study and staying up even later to study more. It's skipping meals and cutting people off in order to maximize time for school. It's falling asleep in class due to fatigue and ending up having to stay up even later just to catch up. This mindset and method is extremely damaging, mentally and physically. Increased stress and anxiety, depression, fatigue and exhaustion, and extreme guilt when relaxing are common side effects of those who partake in a lifestyle centered around hustle culture. According to the National Library of Medicine, there's even a noticeable relationship between people who work long hours and those who develop cardiovascular diseases. Moreover, hustle culture is ineffective. At the end of the day, everyone's goal is to do well, and that's the goal hustle culture promises to reach. However, it always falls short. In my experience, I ended up doing worse the more I tried to study and commit to hustle culture. Instead of being productive, I ended up unfocused, irritable, exhausted, and unable to do anything at all. As a result of this, my grades dropped. So I tried even harder, and as you can guess, this just ended in lower grades. The overworking that hustle culture promised was the solution to success wasn't working for me or for any of my peers, and it never will. You will always end up burnt out and usually farther behind than you began. So, what do? If working 20 hours and surviving off of coffee and energy drinks isn't working, then what will? First off, the mindset has to change. Tying your identity to anything materialistic, especially grades, is extremely damaging and unfulfilling. Taking active steps to stop doing it, such as journaling, writing down negative thoughts and coming back to them later, spending more time on self-care, finding a hobby that you enjoy, and simply just recognizing and proving negative thoughts false can do wonders for your self-esteem and lead to a happier, more productive life. When you can stop gaining so much validation from a number, it is easier to break away from obsessive studying and turn to shorter, smarter methods. Now, there are many of these methods other than overproductivity and overworking that produce great results. Two of my favorites are called the active recall and the Pomodoro methods. If you haven't heard of these, don't worry, they're pretty simple. With active recall, you first start by just sitting down and writing down or recording yourself talking through everything you know about a specific topic. if you have a biology test coming up on photosynthesis, sit down and just word vomit everything you know about photosynthesis. It's important to do this without looking at your notes. This way, your brain is forced to recall the information, which builds up your long-term memory rather than your short. After you do this, you can go back through and fill in the gaps in your knowledge with your notes and attempt to do another session after studying this for a bit. The goal of active recall is to add a bit more to your memory each time, to the point where you don't have to go back and fill in anything with your notes. By using this method, you end up retaining the information for much longer and end up studying mindlessly for much less time. Pomodoro method has a different approach, but it's the same idea of increasing your retention. With this method, you have 25 minutes of intense study time. During these 25 minutes, you can do nothing but focus on your work and get quality work done. However, when the 25 minutes are up, you are forced to stop working and take a 5-minute break. Building in time for your brain to take a break is very beneficial to many people, especially those who have difficulty focusing. You are able to get more done more productively in shorter amounts of time rather than a so-so study session that takes 8 hours and mentally exhausts you. The knowledge that you have a break also makes work seem less daunting and easier to start, and many people find themselves getting in the zone and working past the 25 minutes while still getting the work done faster. Personally, the use of these two methods has dramatically changed the way I approach studying, and honestly, has dramatically changed my grades. I've been getting much more sleep, have spent much more time on things I love, and have enjoyed being with my friends and family much more. Most notably, as I just said, my grades have improved, even though I've technically been studying less. This just goes to show that hustle culture is ineffective, and if you want to succeed, it's not the way to go. All this to say, there are many methods other than the two that I mentioned that are great and produce great results without overworking a person. Finding what works for you and sticking to it is the best way to overcome the addiction to hustle culture. When it comes down to it, the saying, study smarter, not harder, has some real truth to it. And you don't have to sacrifice living for what you think is success. In doing this, you end up losing yourself and the success you're so desperately trying to achieve in the process. At the end of the day, taking care of yourself is the most important thing. Eating, sleeping, drinking water, and spending time with yourself cannot be replaced by any 100 or A+. If you put in the work to do those things and build sustainable, healthy study habits, the grades will take care of themselves. And from one tired but working on it high school student to another, and to the world watching this talk, hang in there. We got this. Thank you.